In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I use Gather Round Homeschool. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Shayla. I am a homeschooling mom of 4 and we have been using Gather Round for probably about like 9 or 10 months now. And I wanted to share with you how I use this curriculum. Now in the last video, I talked to you guys about letters and numbers, just like a brief overview. So if you're interested, you can check that out. I also do reviews on all the units that we complete. So you can check all of those videos out. I'll link them in the description box for you below. So as I said, I am a mom of 4. I've got an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, almost 5-year-old. He'll be 5 in a couple of days. And then I have a 3-year-old daughter. So we do not only the Gather Round main units, but we're also using the letters and numbers curriculum. And I know that there are a lot of people that aren't sure how to do all of that in a day. And so I wanted to take you along with me and show you how we do it. So the first thing that we do is we actually take care of math. So for me, I love math. I can do math all day long. But my kids, on the other hand, sometimes their brains are just like, they don't really want to cooperate. So we go ahead and we take care of math first. Now my 8-year-old and my 6-year-old, they're old enough to complete the math lessons on their own. So this is the time where I take for my younger learners, my 3-year-old and my 4-year-old, Nathaniel and Abigail, I will take them downstairs. I will cast the teacher's guide onto the TV and we'll do the lesson. So my daughter is doing book 1 of letters and numbers, and my son is doing book 3. So what does that mean? That means 2 separate lessons. Now, the nice thing about this is the lessons only take 10 minutes. So it's not that big of a deal for me to do both of them. Now, if I'm being honest, we don't always do the lessons every day. Sometimes we just do the pages because, I just don't feel like it. So, it is what it is. Like, we all have those days. Now, if we do the lesson, we'll read through, it's just 1 page, and then we will use the Gather Round app to look at videos. Now, I did do an overview of what the letters and numbers curriculum looks like. Every day it's an animal, and there's a letter that's introduced. So like book 1, week 1, you're gonna go over Freddie Fox with the letter F, and Wendy Wolf, which is the letter W. So obviously we're gonna be talking about the letters F and W. And so we will look at videos or pictures of the fox, of the wolf. And then what we'll do is we will go ahead and read a book together. Now I like to correspond the lessons with books that I get from the library. So what I do is a couple of weeks ahead of time, I'll get enough books to last us like 2 or 3 weeks, just so that I'm not having to travel to the library, every couple of days. And so we will take time to read a book. Now, my kids, they don't really care, like, well, like my son, he's doing In the Jungle. Well, he still wants to know about the fox. They'll read each other's books. They'll sit for long enough. If I can get them to sit long enough, then we'll read 2 or 3 books together. So once the lesson is complete, I'll bring them back upstairs and we'll get started on the student notebook. So my daughter, who's 3, she loves to cut. She loves scissors. If she finds a pair of scissors, she's cutting something. I'm surprised she hasn't cut her hair off already. But she loves to cut. So what I will do is I actually give her all of the cutting pages first, and she just has a jolly good old time doing her cutting activities. And during that time, I will sit with Nathaniel and I will do the writing assignments. Now, in the student notebook, book 3, the writing, it's not a lot. It's usually just, practicing your letters and then whatever numbers that you're learning for the week. And then there's like 1 day a week where you're practicing writing your name. He's in the stage now where he's really excited about writing and spelling words and all the things. So I really want to sit with him and make sure that he's writing the letters properly. My daughter, on the other hand, she's doing pre-writing. So she's just, slanted lines, horizontal lines, vertical lines. And so with her, once, Nathaniel is done with his writing stuff and it's time for his cutting activity or matching or sorting or whatever he's doing, then I will work with Abigail on her writing assignments. And so we just will alternate back and forth. Another thing that I do is more than one lesson per day, like the worksheet pages, because both of them seem to really love learning and they're like, I want to do more. Well, I'm like, okay, well, let's keep going. So I will, sometimes we do 2 or 3 days in one sitting. It just depends on how fast, you know, they decide they want to work, or if we're doing like the craft, I'll let them have a little bit of extra time, you know, with the craft assignment. Another thing that I like to do is kind of like enrichment to what's already in the student notebook. So for instance, there's, you know, pages on like patterns, and we have these little blocks where, you know, they're different colors and they link together. So I'll give them additional assignments to say like, hey, make me an ABAB pattern or make me an AAB pattern, and just have them practice with manipulatives. Sometimes we will do extra things with Play-Doh, like making the letter shapes out of Play-Doh. Sometimes, you know, and these are things that are also in the curriculum, like, hey, here's an extension activity. Go find 3 things that are shaped like a circle in your house and like send them on a scavenger hunt, just to get them like up and moving and being engaged with the lesson. So in order to complete letters and numbers with both the kids, it probably takes like a good, you know, they're tonkered out by like a good 20 to 30 minutes, probably about 30 minutes. I've got a good 30 minutes in them. And so I will send them for a break, and I'll say like, hey, go watch a learning show, you know, PBS Kids. There's a show on there called Word World that they absolutely love, and it's so good. I even like the show, but teaching like phonic sounds, special sounds, stuff like that. The kids really enjoy that, so they'll watch that, or something like Super Y. And then during that time, I'll work with my older 2, review their math work, make sure that it's done correctly, answer any questions that they have, and then I give the kids a break. There you go. Now, once their break time is over, that's when we actually get into doing the main unit for the day. So for instance, right now we're studying Africa. So I'll do the same thing. We all go downstairs. I cast the teacher's guide to my TV, and then we go through the lessons. My kids have been really interested in Africa, so I don't have to break up the lesson book with video. Sometimes we'll go and look at pictures or something, but for the most part, we save the video to the end. They all love food, so we are always looking at the food videos. Now, a lot of my resources come from the Gather Round app, and I probably should just make a whole separate video about the Gather Round app, because like I use it so much and I love it so much. But a lot of the material comes from there. Sometimes I will search ahead of time on YouTube and find videos that correspond with whatever country that we are studying as well. Now, once that happens, usually we spend like about 45 minutes doing the lesson, depending on like how much video we watch. Once we do that, then by this time it's like usually time for me to start making lunch. So I send the kids up here. The younger 2, they do their coloring pages from the pre-reader unit. And then my older kids are working in their student notebook as well. Now, they could probably do the worksheets alone, but they just like for me to be around and to help them, or, you know, to help them understand. My 6-year-old, he seems to just not want to remember anything. So like I have to do a lot of like priming and pumping conversation for him to be like, oh yeah, I remember, you know, this and that, and then he can write it down on his own. My 8-year-old is doing upper elementary, and my 6-year-old son, he's doing early reader. And so their pages are similar, and it usually takes about like 30 to 40 minutes for them to complete those pages. There's always 5. And then for the early reader notebooks, I believe there's like at least 1 coloring page in there for him to do. Like we're done before lunch, like every single day. And so that's really nice. Sometimes we will do a little bit of extra work in the afternoon, but for the most part, like Gather Round can be done within 2 to 3 hours. You can make it even longer if you would like. Now that's not even counting like the reading time that they do. So if they're done with their schoolwork early, or if they're just bored, or if they're getting on my nerves, then I'm gonna send them to read a book. So we also have, I do the same thing that I do with my younger kids for letters and numbers. I also get books based on the main units. And so I do book hauls for every single unit that we have. So make sure you're subscribed, you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of those videos. I can also link them in the description box below for you. But I think that that really enhances the unit, just to have books along with the units and the lessons, the countries that you're studying, the subjects that you're studying. And I know, like, especially if you're new to homeschooling, it can be really stressful and nerve-wracking, like trying to make sure that your kids are learning everything, trying to make sure that you're like giving them a well-rounded education. And that can be overwhelming, you know, and I believe that Gather Round has been a godsend for us. It has brought us closer together. We're all learning together, growing together, and just enjoying each other's company. And I believe that that's what education should be. You know, it shouldn't have to be something that everybody hates. You know, it shouldn't have to be something that we don't look forward to. We should be able to look forward to learning and growing as a family. And so Gather Round has provided that for us. I'm so glad that we found Gather Round Homeschool, and I'm really happy to be able to share it with you guys. So I hope that there is something that you could gain from our schedule, just seeing how we do things. And let me know in the comment section, how do you do homeschool where you are? I always love hearing from you guys. Don't forget, hiding is overrated, and I'll see you next time.